Hello to all of you beautiful humans out there. You are in for such a treat today with Ginny Caldwell on with us today. And we are going to be diving into some incredible nuggets about gut health. Gut health like you have never heard it before. So buckle up, get ready. I'm going to intro Ginny in a second, but first I want to give a shout out to our sponsor of Sunny Side Up Podcast. So grateful for Heather Kinder, the founder and CEO of creatingharmonyco.com. And she is a professional home organizer. She has personally come into my home, helped me organize my pantry, my closet. And I know she also does virtual because she is not in the state of Michigan. She is in Pauley, South Carolina. So visit her at creatingharmonyco.com. And thank you to Heather for supporting the show. This beautiful human that you can see on my screen, or if you're just listening on Spotify or wherever you're listening, you'll hear her beautiful voice soon. She is a wife, a mom, a musician, a music therapist, a Christ follower, a seeker of knowledge, and a natural health practitioner, which is the way that we met at the school that we go to. Soon to be naturopath doctor, which is along the same path as me. So, Ginny, welcome to the show. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you so much. What an amazing introduction.
Oh, well, I could keep going, truly.
No, no.
a drum a drumming artist. So Ginny recently attended the Sunshine Retreat, which is my annual retreat in May. And you guys, she was such a fan favorite. Just how did you get started with music?
Hey, first off, I had a blast at your retreat and I can't wait for next year. So
I
if
love that.
you missed it, but you have a chance and you should take it and don't miss it next year.
Thank you for
I
that plug. Heck yeah.
You are welcome. I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Good.
Like I still talk about it, so I'm excited for next year.
Thank you. Me too.
My I grew up in a house with a piano and an organ and a grandma that was in a quartet and a mom that plays piano and was like the worship leader or the no, she was the music the worship leader at Sunday school. Like we went to a Methodist church when I was young.
Okay.
And my mom would be there with the auto harp and she would lead us all in all these songs, all the kids. And then if we had like a music program at church, she was in charge of it. So I just grew up with music.
Okay.
It was something that was important in our family.
Well, and I heard briefly, I was able to kind of pop in and out of your session about the rhythm of your body, the rhythm of your health, the rhythm of your life, and how you weave in music into the synchronicities of the human body, which was so cool. I mean, is that kind of what you do on a regular basis?
Um, you could say that. You could definitely say that. So as a music therapist, I use music as a catalyst to accomplish a non-musical goal. Whether that's rehabilitation. So I'm using music to work fine motor, gross motor. I'm using it to access the motor pathways in the brain. I'm using it to assist with speech development. Um, or we could go to emotional support and feelings of well-being, stimulating memory recall.
Mm-hmm.
Music therapy actually started in the hospital. It was utilized with World War II veterans that had come back from the service and were experiencing shell shock or post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Yeah.
But now they've done some amazing research, and music just touches every part of our life because we are music. And I think that that's what I was saying at the drumming, that we are a symphony. We're a walking symphony. Our cells, our synapses fire at a tempo, especially if we're listening to music. You wouldn't be able to walk if you didn't have rhythm in your gait. And I just was trying to express that. I know people think, oh, I'm not musical. If I hear that, if I had I was going to say $1, but I'll take it down to a nickel for every time someone said, oh, girl, I am just not musical. I would be rich.
Yeah.
Allie, I'd be sponsoring your podcast. I'd be doing all the things because I would have the money. And unfortunately, our society nowadays is just brainwashing us to think that we are less than the amazing thing that we are.
Mhm.
And we breathe in rhythm, our heart beats in a rhythm. Everything about us is a symphony. So
Amen.
if you take nothing away from this, please know that you are a symphony.
You're a musical being. I love that. Especially instilling that in children from a very young age,
Yeah.
self-esteem, such an important.
hmm
So, kind of bringing this full circle, how would you tie in music to gut health?
Mm. Because if your if your gut was an orchestra and you were missing key instruments from that orchestra, there's no way to make quality music. And there's no way to make quality health in the body without a diverse microbiome that's functioning properly.
Mm, so profound and so true, and such a great visual to think about, right?
Can you imagine? There's no string section. How is it an orchestra?
Right.
Or you can't really keep time because the percussion's gone.
Hmm. That's right.
So,
That's right.
and that's what's going on in our guts. Unfortunately, our lifestyle and the toxins that we're exposed to in the community and in our environment, and and the toxins that are hidden in our foods,
Yeah.
in the processing of our foods, in the packaging of our foods, in the preserving and preservation of foods is just destroying our microbiome, which we really didn't know about when we discovered antibiotics, right? So we discovered antibiotics in the early 1900s,
Hmm.
and then we discovered probiotics, I believe 20, 30 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe,
Somewhere around there.
maybe somewhere around there.
We probably always knew about them, but they were more like on the forefront.
No,
Oh,
no,
no.
we didn't know about them.
Oh,
Um, I It's escaping me, and I probably should have brought notes, but I didn't.
that's okay.
But that's
Organic.
okay. That's homework for your listeners to
I
go
love it.
down the rabbit hole, and see what year. But we didn't know about antibiotics because we knew about germs, and it
Yeah.
was definitely germ warfare. But we didn't understand that we are a symbiotic being that lives in codependence with other small organisms, and so small that they weren't on the radar until
Well, and backing up, not to interrupt you, but backing up, antibiotic means anti-life.
it
And I think
does.
that's a really important point to bring up because if you go down the rabbit hole of antibiotics, and I think, a high percentage of people listening to this know that excessive antibiotics completely wreck your gut, and we should be taking probiotics if we have been on probiotics or antibiotics for a long time. But I don't know how many people really realize it means anti-life, and you're killing everything. You are swiping out the whole jungle.
Well, so Allie, it's not even extensive rounds. It's one round.
Yeah.
It's one round,
But think
and it
about
wipes
people that
out.
are on multiple rounds, right? You're right. It's the one
Yeah,
round that swipes it out. Yeah.
wipes it out, and it's not just your gut. It's your biomes everywhere. Like, oh my, it's systemic. There's microbiomes in your lungs. I mean, there's gut bacteria. Clearly, they're not gut bacteria because they're in your lungs. They're lung bacteria that are supporting your body. There's bacteria everywhere in your skin, your mouth, your oral microbiome. And
Hmm.
when we take those, it's like a napalm. It just decimates everything.
Yeah. So, what would you say to somebody, a client, a friend, a family, a listener that says, I'm throwing my hands up in a white flag. There's so much information out there. I've taken antibiotics. I don't even know. It's too overwhelming. I don't know where to start. What would you say?
I'd say you're not alone first. I mean, it's a burgeoning field, right? It's a buzzword now, but I don't think we've even scratched the surface of understanding a lot of the intricacies of gut health. So I would say start with fermented foods. I would say start with fiber-rich foods. And yeah, you know what? There is that little, since I'm a music therapist, I think maybe I can get away with this one. Beans, the musical fruit, the more you eat, the more you toot. I'm
Right.
just saying, like,
Right.
let's not let this be like Vegas and what stays in Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I understand the bathroom is a private place, but it can't be what happens in the bathroom stays in the bathroom, because then we don't understand about our health.
Yeah.
So yes, you might feel a little gaseous. Um, but that just, I mean, that means that we need more fiber, and that means that we have something going on in our guts, because we should be able to process those things. So when we can't, it's an invitation for us to do better in that area, in that organ. So slowly introducing fibrous foods like beans, like fruits
Chia
and vegetables,
seeds.
chia seeds. Yes, definitely. You know, and if you're into like earthy tasting teas, your psyllium, your marshmallow root, if you like slimy stuff in your smoothie, let's go aloe vera juice or aloe vera gel,
Yeah.
living life on the edge. Um, and just create the welcoming environment, because we can take all the probiotics we want. If the environment isn't welcoming, they're not stay, and
Right.
we want them to stay because they have a huge role. I like to give this example when people are like, well, why do I need probiotics? I want you to picture Amazon's warehouse. It's huge. I don't know if you've ever driven past one. Trucks hanging out the side. I mean, it's acres upon acres. And what if it was empty? What if there were no employees? I mean, your gut is essentially an Amazon warehouse.
I love that.
And it's to send out neurotransmitters, for it to synthesize vitamins, for it to do the things and create the things that the body needs. There has to be employees there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have all drivers to drive the truck, and you don't have people to unpack the boxes or to catalog the stuff or to blah, 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 insert job role here. Shout out to Amazon employees. Shout out, y'all.
Hey, can they sponsor the show?
Can you? Can you? And then call me, because I would love you to sponsor mine.
There we
No,
go.
then we're not going to get our packages in 2 days. Our brain's not going to get the serotonin and the dopamine that it needs, you know.
Right.
We're not going to get the B vitamins that we need. So
Right.
we need them.
Right. No, absolutely. And I was just looking through my notes because you said something that I wanted to go back and highlight. But I'll just pull out from memory. You know, the fact that 70+% of your immune system lives in your gut, right? And
Yeah.
how important the diversity of gut health is to all the points you made, amino acids, minerals, vitamins, assimilation, gut health, brain health connection. I like to tell clients, friends, and family, because I'll have people come in and say, I've been on the same probiotic for 8 years. It's working well for me. And I'm like, I'm really glad it's working well for you. But could we talk about introducing diverse strains? Right. And you could even take a deeper dive into knowing which strains you had and which strains you didn't have, right? They've got things like the GI testing you can do. There's companies like Biome where you can poop and mail it in, and they'll tell you, you know, what strains are currently in your microbiome. Are you a fan of any of those systems? Like, are you a fan of testing the gut?
I am. I am. And when we compare it to other cultures' diversity and our lack of diversity,
Mhm.
you know, I think it's important to introduce other strains. Um, I'm on the fence, Allie. I used to think I wanted everyone to have this really diverse probiotic. And then I learned about spore-based probiotics, and Microbiome Labs has a lot of great education on their site.
Okay.
And they're, I can't think of his last name. It starts with a K. The gentleman that does a lot of the education for microbiome labs, and I believe he's a formulator. Uh, he educates on, spore-based probiotics, which help to increase the and make the environment more hospitable, right? They don't stay. They come in, they're your bacillus, coagulin, and subtilis, and or subtilis, however you prefer to pronounce it.
Oh yeah, I'm with you.
They come in and they kind of like make it cozy. They're your interior designers. They're going to make it look special, like you want to set up shop here. And so they support the keystone strains, but they don't necessarily colonize. And
Hmm.
so do you want someone to come and flip that house and make it livable? Or when is the time that you introduce the keystone strains? And then what strains will they invite? Like how do you build community? Who's your community organizer?
Hmm.
And I think really understanding how colonization happens, like what is the role of fermented foods? Do they contain the actual members that we want, or do they contain transient probiotics that are going to go through and do you colonize from fermented foods, and then which ones, and then which strains? And I think that's really what I'm trying to deep dive for my final paper, is to really have a better understanding as a natural health practitioner and a naturopathic doctor. How do I help my uh, clients get from A to Z in a very in a straight line, instead of the zigzagged one that I took for my own gut health?
Hmm.
you know um is it that we want to drop in these specific strains for this specific thing? Like you have C. diff, you have, and we need to get some Saccharomyces boulardii in there because you can take that with an antibiotic and it's not going to be wiped out, and it's going to help with the colonization of the colony of C. diff and reducing it. Or, or is it, I think it's rhamnosus, and there's a couple other ones that also support that. Or is it the ones that are in the yogurt? Or is it acidophilus? And I think I just would like to understand, and I get that everybody's different, but I want to understand, like on average, how, which strains, why, when, and how.
Yeah. Okay, so to kind of like tie that up with a bow for the listeners out there, I feel like what you just said, incredible, by the way. And if there are stages to gut health, okay, if you're at stage one, ground floor,
Right.
get your
Ground floor.
spores, get your fiber, get your chia seeds, get your veggies, get your aloe, get your psyllium husk, and start tracking your fiber. Start 10 grams a day, 20 grams a day. Start tracking so you can get your colon and your intestines back up and running. Stage two is get those probiotic strains in there, any strains. Any strains are better than no strains, right? Diversify, diversify. And then the stage three would be a more tailored approach, understanding if you did have C. diff or you have Crohn's or you have,
Right.
right? So there's these stages to gut health. And I think that's really why one of the reasons I am so passionate and love natural wellness and healing is that there is no one way. It's
Yeah.
all different for all of us, right? Um, so I love that. And I think everyone listening is going to pull their own little path.
Nuggets from that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I'm investigating a lot of the supplements too. So I love Dr. Zach Bush, and he is an amazing person to listen to. He is a wealth of knowledge, and he is um, really what drew me to gut health.
Okay.
Listening to him talk, it's inspirational.
Yeah.
And he has a product called Ion Gut Health. And before that, it had a different name, and I bought it earlier on, and the formula's changed a little bit. But his focus, from my take on his focus, is more cellular communication, and helping to repair the communication network between the microbes. Um, And so again, this is why I'm asking for myself. This is in my mind. I mean, I have a few blueprints of, what I would want my clients to do. And it is definitely reintroducing really good foods, fiber, your water, the restoring the mucus lining, but the microbes tend to the mucus lining. So we can have the psyllium husks and things like that, but we also need the microbes to maintain that mucus layer. But on a practitioner level, like, I want the communication network to be there. And again, these are my questions, but I also want to have certain microbes present to talk to each other, because you can have all the communication devices available. If there's no one in the room to talk, we're not talking.
Mm-hmm.
So again, is it the spore-based microbes making the place hospitable, helping to clean up and not necessarily colonizing, but making it awesome so that all the bifidos want to hang out, and the lactos are coming in like, heck yeah. And the enteros are like, oh, party over here, party over there. Is it the enzymes to come in and help to rebalance yeast? So cytokinase really helps to break down the outer coating of the yeast, because yeast candida can go dormant for up to like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is yes, everybody's different, but there's got to be a similar cocktail, a similar progression that's going to, support people the most. So I guess that's my investigation. These are the questions that I have. I have my own gut journey. And I had really bad endometriosis, and gut health was what opened my eyes to that there's more to healthcare than what we understand from a westernized medicine perspective. So it was between this Hail Mary called gut health 8 years ago and a hysterectomy. And I really wasn't ready to have a hysterectomy. And I'd been struggling with endometriosis for 20 years, very painful, very embarrassing. So I started taking a probiotic blend that had 4 keystone strains, and a yeast, Saccharomyces boulardii, and some proteolytic enzymes. So cytokinase, which was made by a coagulant, I believe, Bacillus coagulant, and then serrapeptase. And then, so this was my little like broad spectrum probiotic, right? 4 keystone strains, an antifungal, and these enzymes, digestive enzymes. And it took a year. And after a year of faithful every night, because I took my probiotics at night so that they could work on my body instead of working on my food, of this one system. And after 6 months, after 6 months, I saw an improvement. I saw improvements along the way, but I'm talking specifically about my pain and my menstrual cycle. And then after 8-10 months, I felt a difference. a noticeable decline in pain. And by a year, the pain was gone, because the, hormones balanced, the proteolytic enzymes helped to eat up the tissues, like the scar tissues that are formed, and things were functioning again, like actually for the first time, because I had never been pain-free in my cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was after having my 3rd baby. I would nurse as long as possible just to kind of keep my hormones low so that I didn't return to that. Long story short, could it have been done in less than a year if I'd have known what I was doing?
Maybe. But what I also heard is stay the course. Healing takes time.
Oh, absolutely. 1000%.
And I think that, in going back to your Amazon example, we live in an Amazon world where everybody wants that, 2-day delivery of health, which is the big pharma way. And, the way that we've known with that, we just live in such a fast paced world. So I love that you shared your journey. It actually gave me reassurance that stay the course, be consistent, journal about your progress. How do you feel at 1 month? How do you feel at 3 months? How do you feel at 6 months?
Yeah. Yep.
And stay curious. I wrote that down too when you were talking because you were curious and asking questions. And even now, with all of the deep, vast knowledge that you have, you are still learning. You are still seeking, right?
100%.
We
You know,
should
my grandma
always.
told me when I was little. Yeah, I'm so sorry to cut you off. My
No,
grandma told me when I was little, Jenny, if you get too old to learn something new, that's when it's time to die. That
no.
you should learn something new each and every day, no matter your age.
Amen.
So, you know,
Amen.
she was, yeah.
So, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And actually, I think I told you this before, but I'll tell you on air so our listeners can know. The only other Jenny in my life was my grandma. My grandma's name was Jenny. She was my only other Virginia. And she is
Oh,
my why. She is one of my whys. You know, my boys and my husband and God are my whys. But she is literally with me. And sometimes she shows herself with blinking lights. Sometimes she shows herself in goosebumps. But she's with me on this journey. And so as soon as I met you, I was like, it's Virginia. It's Ginny. I'm gonna be in love with her instantly.
aw.
Which I
My
know,
grandma's name was Virginia too.
oh, something special about Virginia. Oh, and
Those
somehow I
Virginia.
just got a Southern accent. I don't know why or how.
Hmm.
I'm meant to be in the South, apparently. So, okay, I have a question for you,
Apparently.
and then I'll stop talking in my Southern accent. Was that probiotic antifungal enzyme beautiful cocktail that you just mentioned for healing endometriosis your own cocktail, or was it all in one?
No, no, that is a single supplement. That is in one capsule. Isn't
By
that crazy?
who's it by?
Oh, Plexus.
Plex.
Plex. I used Plexus. Yeah.
You know,
So it
people
had,
are going to ask that. They're going to say, "Where do I find this unicorn supplement?"
yeah, yeah. No, call me. I'll hook you up. And this isn't a pub for, you know, Plexus. I wouldn't have said the name if you hadn't have brought it up. It just, it was, it was amazing.
Mm,
And I slept better. My first sign of healing was sleeping better.
mm.
And it's those little things we have to pay attention to. And I evacuated because you have, you know, however many meals come in, that's how many trains have to leave the station. You know this. Um, so the trains were leaving the station on Plexus, there's, you know, you're not straining, you're not, sorry if this is too much information for some listeners. If you need to fast forward, that's fine. But again, what happens in the bathroom needs to be talked about. It's not Vegas. Um, you should be making deposits in the bank for
Yeah.
every meal that you eat. And so if you're going to the bathroom to spend quality time on a bowel movement only twice a week or 3 times a week,
Yeah.
then you're toxic.
Hmm.
I was toxic.
Yeah.
I was toxic and it was holding up my healing.
Hmm.
And once I was able to not be toxic, then the body was able to do other things, like with the support of the probiotics and the enzymes, like address the cluster that was menstruation for me and scar tissue and all of that.
How incredible that you healed endometriosis with gut health. You know, and I think we could say that for so many things, you know,
So many things.
on the regular for me, if I had to say some things that I'm seeing, you know, I've seen some diverticulitis, definitely dysbiosis of the gut, mood, lots and lots and lots and lots of autoimmune disease. So I think we could cover all of those things in addressing gut health, right?
Period. What did Hippocrates? Hippocrates said that Oh, it just flew out of my mind. That basically health begins in the gut. You know, like all that's it. All diseases
Mm-hmm.
begin in the gut,
Yeah.
right? So the road to good health is paved with good intestines, not intentions.
Amen. Right. Right.
You
And heal
know,
from the inside out. That was another thing Hippocrates said. Heal from the
Mhm.
inside out. Yeah. What
Absolutely.
wise scholar. Yeah. Speaking of all the things we put in and out, the train in and out, what are some things like stress came up for me? And I always like to think of a knot. I feel like if you
Mm,
walk around your whole life and you're just like this, you're holding on, like how badly that is affecting your gut, right? And
so
how do we unravel the knot? I mean, I know I have my own ideas of how we unravel the knot, but how do we unravel the knot in your professional opinion?
um it could be as easy as taking a deep breath. It could be as easy as counting in and breathing in for 6, because inhaling is sympathetic, parasympathetic is exhaling. And so our vagus nerve, our cranial nerve 10, is deeply rooted in our gut microbiome. And that's how it communicates up through the vagus nerve to the brain. So if we can work to switch from a fight or flight state to a rest and digest state, I mean, digest, it's in the little saying, rest and digest. Let's do it. Let's hum. Let's sing. Sing a song. Sing a song when you don't want to sing a song. I don't care if you want to sing that song or not. You need to sing it until you want to sing it. Sing it 4 or 5 times. Put that bad boy on repeat. Find a playlist of 15 minutes of music that's going to take that validates your feelings, then shifts you away from that feeling, and then brings you up into happiness.
Mm.
So that's 4 songs that you need. An angry song, because everybody has an angry song anthem. It's okay. Start there. Start with a sad song. Have a sad playlist and an angry playlist. I don't care.
Mm.
And help to mood modify. Modify your mood with music.
Mm.
Help to um, bring your focus from either the past or the future into the present. You can do that with breath work, but if your mind is just doing too much, you should do that with music.
Mm-hmm.
Put on some headphones and take a break. Take a break from life and hum or sing.
Oh, such a simple tool. And it brought me to a story short, long, short of the long, how when I'm really stressed out, if I'm in the kitchen, I'm just picturing like, I've been momming a little too much or life has just been
Same.
low. And I turn on music. It like instantly, I mean, within a song or two, if I'm singing it and I'm feeling it. And if I didn't know what I know, I would just think, oh, music makes me feel good. But what you just described is physiologically what happens, right? And so important for children too, like that can regulate a dysregulated body through humming,
Mhm.
through singing, through, you know,
Movement, dancing. Yes.
yes, that stagnant energy gets the flow, right?
Right.
Throw a giant dance party in your kitchen. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Because
Um,
you're going to release dopamine. You're going to release the happy hormones because
mhm.
you like that music. You chose it, you know?
Right,
So
right. And
it's like
stress
exercise.
management. So I mean, stress management is the scanner I have in my office, that we scan the hand and we look for heavy metals and minerals and vitamins. And I've listened to a lot of podcast episodes from the creator, one of the gentlemen that's responsible for the success of this company. And he said that in the thousands and thousands and thousands of scans that he has done, the most perfect scans, the ones that are more ideal, were people that didn't live in a stressed state. It's just stress is responsible for so much of our illness, of our condition, right?
Our bodies were, our stress response was made for saving your life. It wasn't made for every day, 8 hours straight, 10 hours straight, for you to be in that environment of stress
Mhm.
constantly,
Right.
creating this, fight or flight, prolonged. Your adrenals, my gosh, your poor adrenals are just fried
Yeah.
from, living like that.
Yeah.
You were never meant to live like that.
Yeah. No, amen. The body doesn't know if it's running from a tiger or if we're just living in stress state, right? So,
No
good
understand.
thing.
Oh,
All right, let's talk about things. We touched a little bit on antibiotics, rocking the gut. Let's talk about some other things. What else? Processed food, stress. I got a list here, but I just want to put it out and see what comes up to your beautiful brain. What contributes to gut dysfunction?
so you know what I think that the sleeper one is that a lot of people don't pay attention to, um, is the chemicals that we're spraying on our food. It's our bread. You talked about celiac, and I think I just want to kind of bring up gluten.
Yeah, let's
I
do
don't
it.
know that I don't think that gluten is the enemy. I kind of feel like, in listening to some really great brains like Stephanie Seneff talk, and Sherry Tenpenny. Well, is Sherry more so glyphosate, Roundup, your Liberty Link, your 2,4-D, your 1,3-D, your all of your pesticides and herbicides that they're putting on our food, because there's loopholes where they're using some of these things on organic substances like our wheat and our oatmeal, our oats. They're processed, they're dried. Glyphosate has a few different patents and a few different uses. It's not only a pesticide and an herbicide, but it's also an antibiotic. It has a patent for antibiotic. And so if you're putting it on as a desiccant to dry out wheat and to dry out oats, but you don't have to tell me because you didn't use it to grow that thing, then that's a loophole because you're still using it. But I'm buying a product that I think is free from pesticides and herbicides. You used it for something else, and that's causing a problem now in my gut. Um, because I'm now ingesting an antibiotic, which is decreasing my colonization.
Yeah.
Also, some of these emulsifiers or additional ingredients in things, when you read the label, you really have to understand what that label is telling you. High fructose corn syrup is made from GMO corn. That's my understanding. And what's on GMO corn? Glyphosate.
Mm-hmm.
So maltodextrin is a derivative of GMO corn. There's so many things that are derivatives of products that have pesticides on it. And I know we're saying, oh, but it's just a little bit. Well, a little bit adds up. When it's a little bit here, and it's a little bit here, and it's a little bit here, and it's a little bit here. I mean, like, who wants to take a little bit of poison every time they eat? Here, just have a drop of arsenic every time you put something in your mouth. No, that's terrifying. I don't want to do that. Please
Right.
don't.
Right.
But we don't think about that. We're buying products that we believe
Mm-hmm.
are healthy for us.
Mm-hmm.
Look at any of these protein bars nowadays. Why is there so much soy tucked in everything? Soy is another GMO crop. Soy is going to get pesticides, herbicides, all of that. Why is, we should just be asking questions about how processed our foods are and why are they tucking some of these ingredients in everything.
Why
I
are they?
think that,
Why are they?
yeah, why?
Right. And the word natural flavors can equal over 100 different ingredients legally. Legally,
Girl,
that's allowed.
girl.
And so you've got, I mean, anything that comes in a container, right, is processed. So eating from the rainbow that God gave us, eating from the earth, growing your own food, um, is the best place to start.
I feel
right?
like it has to be the way of life. I tell people all the time, I tell my clients, eat food that looks like it lived, period.
Yeah,
If that's not what it looked like when it lived, don't eat it.
yeah. Not to mention the frequency. I love the conversation about the frequency of food because peas that are in an aluminum can are dead. Peas in an aluminum can, I understand for lower income families or during the depression or times when we needed that canned food. But I think it's a lot easier than people even realize to get a little pot and plant your own peas and learn, start asking questions, start getting curious. Even if you live in an apartment, you can put some pots out on your porch, right? We have to. It's essential. It's a necessity that we become aware of this. And I wanted to read something that I found because I love that you brought up glyphosates and corn syrup and natural flavors and things that we should be on the lookout for. And the whole idea of it's just a little bit. I know lots of people, and this is said with so much love, so much love.
Yeah.
It's just one
Yes.
Diet Coke a day. Allie, it's just one Diet Coke a day. Okay, so sucralose is Splenda, aka Splenda. Sucralose can reduce good gut bacteria by up to 50%. That's up to 50%.
Yeah.
One study showed that sucralose significantly decreased the population of bifidobacterium and lactobacillica in the gut, two key players in the immune system. Even more shocking, these changes lasted weeks after exposure. And then we talk about aspartame. Aspartame increases bad bacteria. I'm going to destroy the word, Clostridium and Enterobacteriaceae, two bacteria linked to inflammation, gas, and metabolic issues. Aspartame is also thought to interfere with gut-brain signaling by altering the availability of neurotransmitters like serotonin, especially concerning for mood cravings and satiety. So back
Yeah.
to Jenny's point about just a little bit, how much is just a little bit? And how much damage is it doing,
And it's just a little bit is going, just a little bit is going to take out 50%. The
Ooh,
next day you're
right.
taking out 50% of that, what's left. And the next day you're taking away 50% of what's left of that. And if we're still eating foods that are dead, like processed foods, anything that comes from, if you pull up at a fast food window, just know there is no restoration of your microbiome happening in that meal. And so I will paint another picture because I just love to paint pictures. If you, you're your house, this is your house. God gave you this beautiful, beautiful house for your soul to reside in. Okay. House is hungry. So I want you to go back to Amazon. All right. Amazon bus driver comes up. He drops off all these beautiful packages at your door. I mean, just big old packages. They look like they've got fun stuff in it, right? Furniture, whatever, like anything that you need for that house, the things that you need for that house, Amazon is supposed to bring to you. So you go to that fast food window. Here's my aside. I'm over here now. You drive up, you order food. That food is meant to furnish this house. What you put in your mouth, what you ordered from Amazon, what you ordered from whatever restaurant, whatever store you went to, is to furnish your home.
Mm-hmm.
You pop open those boxes from Amazon and they're absolutely empty. They're empty. So what do you need to do? Now you need to go back on Amazon and order. Same with your body. You ordered that raggedy food. I'm sorry, I say this in love. It's raggedy. It's
Okay.
raggedy food
It's not real
that
food.
you spent a lot of money on that raggedy food. And you put it in your mouth and your eyes saw it, your taste buds tasted it and thought, oh, this tastes so good. But it got down to the intestines where it needed to be processed. And it was like opening empty boxes. There's no vitamins here. There's
Mm-hmm.
no minerals here. There's no other gut friends like, hey, I'm coming to relieve you. It's my turn to help process all this stuff. There's nobody. So what? Your stomach is is like now signaling, or your gut and your stomach are signaling your brain like, oh, now we need to eat again. Now you need to get back on Amazon and file a complaint and get your money back and order something else, right? And what happens to those empty boxes? That's our energy stores. We just kind of pack it over there. You got a lot of junk in your trunk, you got a lot of junk in your basement.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make the correlation. This is not stuff we can use. It's not usable. It's not building your house, your foundation, your home.
Mm. And loving yourself enough to eat food that nourishes you. I think that's a big part of this too. You are worth it. You are worthy.
And I'd like to say this much.
Please.
The food that the Lord gave us, the food that the Lord gave us doesn't give us cravings. It doesn't play with your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So it is absolutely, I mean, you crave it to it. Once you feel good in your body, you crave feeling good in your body, right? And so you want to fuel that body. But when we think about a dopamine hit, it's not a carrot.
Yeah.
When I think about, oh man, I could really go for some beets right now. No one says that. Maybe they do, but I haven't met too many people. But those are the foods that have everything that your body needs, that are going to provide you with the nutrients. Like, God didn't give us foods that were going to cause us to worship them or
get hooked on them because they're
get
processed
hooked on them. Like,
in a lab,
right,
which is
like
how we get
addiction.
hooked on them. Yeah, which is how we get hooked on them. It's the sugar, it's the chemicals. And even, okay, we're not going to go down this rabbit hole today, but even cigarettes, it's not the nicotine in the cigarettes that you're hooked on. It's the
The sugar.
859 other chemicals. In fact, nicotinum is good for you, which again,
Yeah.
next episode, next
Next
episode,
episode. We'll have to come back.
next episode for sure. And to Jenny's point, because I love to learn by storytelling, and I love that you're a storyteller too. And all of this is to throw no shade or shame. We know what we know until we know better. We know what we
Period.
know until we know better, period. And there was a mama that was at a theme park that we go to every summer, and her kid, maybe 2 years old, was in a stroller, just losing her ever loving mind, just probably hot and bothered and dehydrated and not properly nourished because every theme park in America serves corn dogs and French fries. And this baby had red number 40 all over her face, just covered in red number 40. Again, probably 2 years old. And I went over and I said, hey, you doing okay? I asked the mama how she was doing. She's like, oh, it's nap time. She missed nap time. And the Holy Spirit came through me. And in a very loving way, I was like, hey, I just want to let you know, my son had a really poor reaction to the dyes that are in slushies. And it affects every system of the body, whether you're an adult or a child. Specifically, children experience it more because their bodies are smaller. And I just wanted you to be aware, in case she's having a reaction. I know she's hot, I know she's dehydrated, whatever. And she kind of just looked at me glass-eyed. But we're also walking each other home. We are walking each other home in this world. And if you have a moment to give a hug or a piece of loving advice or offer wisdom that you think will help somebody else, that's what this podcast is about, right? We're dropping some knowledge coming from a place of love, right?
It is from a place of love. And so, to just preface raggedy, when I say raggedy food, I am upset about the fact that we are being pimped. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah.
With this food, the industry's food. I mean, we're just nothing but dollar signs, it feels like.
Yeah.
Because there's been studies, there've been whole documentaries on these ingredients, and no one's doing anything about it. So when I say raggedy food, if that's the food that you have the money to afford, I'm not coming at you. I'm coming at the industry that thinks that that's okay and that's acceptable for your hard-earned dollars.
Amen. Spend your
And
dollar.
we need to,
Yeah.
absolutely, with our dollars.
Because where you put your
Take your
dollar
money
is
to
your
that grocery
vote.
store.
Where you put your dollar is your vote, girl. Yeah, no, I didn't take it that way at all. When you said that, I think
Well, I just, you know
honestly,
what? It's a podcast, and I know that other people are going to be hearing it, and I don't want
yeah,
anyone to have offense in their heart um, from hearing that. You know, everyone does the best that they can, and like you said, Allie, when you know better, you do better. And I want them to be able to hear the message because part of the onus is on the industry that is allowed to continue to serve us this stuff.
amen. Amen. There's a book by John Gamble called The Chronic Disease Book. I think that's the name. Did you read that book? Chronic Disease by John
Um, I,
Gamble. So game changing book. I've only been able
mm,
to skim through it to date, but for my third year research paper, I'm writing about the toxic, the detriment of heavy metals, and he really addresses a lot of that. So I'll be referencing that later. But he discusses how the immune overstimulation from adjuvants in vaccines may overwhelm
mm.
detox pathways, which burden the gut. So going back to if you know better, do better. Um, I want to go out with a boom today. I'm ready. I'm ready
Ooh,
to talk. I'm ready to talk about what's happening in the world. So talk to me about, and I'll chime in as well. Talk to me about the reality of what is in, once you are aware of what is in vaccinations and how that takes a toll on the gut. Because we need people to know.
yeah. Well, I don't know if you have gone through the history of some of the controversy, but Andrew Wakefield was actually a gastroenterologist, and he was the first, his study, his research study that had 10 other people in the research, and it's only been him that's been demonized, I just want to point out,
Mm.
um, that pointed out that the fact that the MMR, the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, as a cocktail shot all together, caused changes, noticeable changes in the gut. And so he was calling for those vaccines to be separated. I think that
Mm.
because the immune system, like you mentioned earlier, 70% of the immune system is in the gut.
Right.
We really need to slow down
Mm.
and figure some things out because we're overtaxing the immune system. There's heavy metals in the vaccines
Mhm.
because they're adjuvants. So we want to incite the immune system to respond. So we use these heavy metals like mercury, like aluminum,
Right.
to induce
Hmm.
a reaction in the immune system.
Right.
However, whatever is attached to that mercury is what, or that aluminum or whatever, is going to be what the body induces a reaction to. And sometimes they're using egg yolks to manufacture some of these bacteria or viruses. So what does that mean? Now my body is going to react to egg yolk. So
Hmm.
we're seeing celiac, and we're seeing all of these gut dysfunctions associated with autoimmune issues because of the additional ingredients. Now we're looking at monkey serum, bovine serum, which is cows. Um, there's some really odd animal involvement that
Yeah.
they're, growing these different cultures on, which,
Mhm.
biblically we should be questioning,
Yeah.
you know. We should be questioning because you're using other animals' bloods, and then we're using aborted fetal tissue, but we're also putting viruses and bacteria and everything in the same cocktail, and we're circumventing the body's actual immune system. Like, we take in stuff through our mouth and through our nose, and we're touching, we're eating, and all of that goes into the gut, and it stays outside the body. If you think about it, imagine with me, from your mouth all the way out is just a big long tube.
Yeah.
And the body gets to decide what comes in and what goes out.
Right.
But if you vaccinate someone and shoot it directly into the muscle tissue, it's going to circulate into the blood. And the body's like, oh my God,
Right.
you, who are you? Oh my God, I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So how do we get autoimmune diseases? How do we overtax the immune system? Let me think. Like all these multivalent vaccinations, the body doesn't even have time to really like adjust. And we're babies. We're babies when all this happens. There are 72 different serums.
That's where I was going next. All injected by the time, somebody's 18 years old. And a 200-pound man receives the same vaccination as a 2-month-old baby.
So I do believe we need to have the conversation. I am in favor for for a halting of the schedule so that we can actually investigate this. But also, do you know that they've not really ever tested any of these injections together? Like they've not done any testing of the injections together. When I was old enough to get a vaccine, I got 10. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm anti-stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got 10 total.
On the same day?
No, period.
Oh, period in your life.
As a child growing up, there were 10.
I got you. I see what you're saying, because now the schedule is so many more.
72.
I got
72
you.
to 78. And with the addition of the COVID vaccine yearly, that pumps it up, another however many, whenever you want to stop, 18, if we're stopping at the age 18. So, I mean, we just can't sprinkle this around like it's seasoning salt.
Yeah. Overtaxed.
No.
That's a really great word. Overtaxed. So we talk about the importance of gut health, which we've talked about, at length today, how important it is to keep your microbiome healthy, and how things like the amount of vaccines that are introduced to our body is detrimental to that. And that's really the point. Get curious, do your research, go to a website called justtheinserts.com, and you can pull up inserts that come directly from the source, directly from the producer.
Product maker.
Yeah, from the maker. So it's a really great resource for you. And just
some good names would be Del Bigtree. If we're talking about, investigating, some good names to check out would be Del Bigtree. Del Bigtree has every Thursday, he has a podcast where he talks about different vaccines. Sherry Tenpenny, Dr. Tenpenny is an amazing source. Stephanie Seneff is an amazing source. There's a few different documentaries. You can go to The Truth About Vaccines. You can go to Vaccines Revealed. Both of those are 9-part docuseries. Sorry. Yeah. There's so many resources out there. There's the Dissolving Illusions by I can see her face. Hold on. Suzanne Humphreys. Suzanne Humphrey is also an amazing speaker. She's a nephrologist who started to educate herself. So yeah,
there's lots of resources.
There is no excuse, my friend.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No. Thank you for sharing that wealth of knowledge and those examples specifically, because I think no matter where you stand, again, I don't consider myself anti-vaxxer either. And full transparency, I had vaginal births in a hospital. I told them that I didn't want Pitocin. I knew well enough that I wanted to avoid some of the synthetic things they were going to be giving to me. I said no to some of the vaccines, but yet I said yes to others because it was at the very beginning of my journey of understanding detrimentally what happens in the body. And it's just this journey, right? So if you're just beginning this journey, please listen to this episode. I pray that you listen to this episode with open ears. And Jenny is one email away. I am one email away to answer your questions and to be there for you on this journey. And to understand that God created our immune system when we were born. We had everything we needed. And anytime, any moment we introduced something foreign, to Ginny's point where she was flailing all over the point, the body goes, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do with this. And when you introduce too many, I don't know what to do with this, the autoimmune response kicks in, right? And then you've got Crohn's and you've got joint issues and arthritis, and we put hair color on our head, and we put, our annual flu vaccine, and we're eating fast food, and our bucket just gets filled, and then it starts overflowing, and then we go to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, you've got high blood pressure and we're going to give you this medicine, and you've got this happening. So it's a cycle, guys, and it all circles back to gut health. It all circles back to taking care of that beautiful system in your body that's protecting you and fighting for you.
Yes.
So, oh my gosh, so much great information, girlfriend. We could talk for hours. But if we were to wrap it up today, I always like to ask my guests, maybe put hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. This is a gut health episode. We'll do hand, heart, and belly here, and just
Uh,
take a deep breath and, maybe ask God, higher power, yourself, your intuition, whatever it is. What final message do we leave with our listeners today?
let's take it back to the beginning. Because you're fearfully and wonderfully made, you're a symphony. And so every part of your orchestra is important.
Mm.
And it's important to it's important to listen and tune up every part of the orchestra.
Mm. Perfection. And speaking of tune up, where can they find you and your company, girl? Tell us more.
So I'm like gradually getting all my internet, right, face, I guess, stuff together. Tune in, tune hyphen in to health, because we're going to tune in, to health is my brand name. So you can find me on Facebook at Tune Into Health. You can find me on Instagram at Tune Into Health, and I will be posting to YouTube and starting my YouTube journey at Tune In to Health.
Fantastic. Beautiful. Tune into health. Virginia Caldwell,
Yes.
soon to be ND, soon to be naturopathic doctor, girl. So we are cheering you on. I cannot wait for future episodes with you. If you guys have a topic that you want us to talk about, I just already
Ooh.
know this isn't going to be the last time. So if you guys have a topic, comment here. This will be on YouTube. This will be on Spotify. You can comment in any of those places. Message us at Tune In to Health on Instagram, Facebook. Find me at Sunnyside Up Wellness. Sunnyside Up Wellness LLC is Instagram, or just Sunnyside Up Wellness without the LLC on Facebook. But we just are so grateful you were with us today. We hope you learned a lot, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.